I never thought the darkest secrets would come pouring out at my son's wedding. But there I was, standing in the corner of the grand ballroom, my heart pounding as I watched my family bask in happiness, completely oblivious to the storm brewing just beneath the surface. The music flowed like honey, sweet and smooth, while laughter reverberated around me. My son, Jake, was in perfect form, handsome in his tailored suit, a broad smile plastered on his face as he danced with his stunning bride, Elizabeth. She was everything I could have ever wished for him, a kind soul, vibrant and full of life. I wanted to be happy for them, I truly did, but beneath my forced smile was a well of turmoil. You see, I had a secret of my own, one I had carried like a heavy burden for far too long. My husband, Daniel, stood nearby, his laughter mingling with everyone else's while pretending that everything was fine. But it was a facade. The cracks had been there for years, festering under the surface of our so-called perfect life. A few weeks before the wedding, I stumbled upon something that shattered my world. It was on an ordinary Tuesday morning, the sun shining brightly through our kitchen window, casting a warm glow on the scene. I had decided to clean out the attic, a task I had avoided for years. As I dug through dusty boxes and forgotten trinkets, I found an old envelope, yellowed with age. Curiosity pulled at me, and as I opened it, I felt the blood drain from my face. It was a series of love letters addressed to Daniel, penned by someone whose name was unfamiliar to me. The words danced off the page, dripping with desire and longing. There were dates, places where they had met, and even memories that he had never shared with me. I felt my stomach churn as I read, my heart breaking slowly with each line. The discovery had given rise to a feeling I couldn't quite shake, an unsettling mix of rage and sadness. I confronted him, of course, but he brushed it off, claiming it was nothing more than a fleeting what if. "It doesn't mean anything," he said, waves of false reassurance rolling off him. But it did mean something. It whispered secrets I wasn't prepared to hear. As I stood there, watching my son celebrate his love, I felt the sharp edge of betrayal cut deeper into my heart. Had I really been just a blip in Daniel's life? Another fleeting emotion that he could so easily toss aside for someone else? My fingers clenched around my glass of champagne, the bubbling liquid mirroring the storm inside me. My sister, Claire, sauntered over, her bright smile never faltering. She had always been the life of the party, the one who could swoop in and make everything seem right. But I couldn't conceal the shadow lurking in my eyes. "Are you okay?" she asked, her trademark smile faltering just a little as she sensed the unease. "Just taking it all in," I replied, forcing my eyes to stay focused on the beautifully decorated ballroom, trying to push back the memories of betrayal that threatened to engulf me. The truth was too complicated to unravel in this moment. Maybe I would review it later, find a way to navigate through it all. But then, as if the universe couldn't resist rolling out the red carpet for chaos, Claire leaned in closer, her voice a conspiratorial whisper. "I saw Daniel sneaking out to talk to Elizabeth before the ceremony," she said, eyes darting around to ensure no one else could hear. "He looked nervous. An icicle of dread sliced through me. My stomach churned, and all at once I was thrust back to that day, the letters flaring in my mind like a wildfire. "What?" I managed to stammer. Before Claire could reply, a crash echoed across the room, drawing all eyes to the dance floor. My heart sank as I saw Daniel standing frozen, a shattered glass at his feet, shards glimmering like tiny stars against the polished floor. He looked up at me, confusion and fear etched across his face. It was too much. I could hear the whispers rising behind us, the undercurrent of shock and scandal simmering just beneath the surface. A raw instinct rose within me. I wasn't going to stand here as a victim any longer. The wedding, the beautiful celebration, felt cruel now, a mask for years of lies and betrayal. As the room buzzed with chatter, I made my way toward the center of the ballroom, my eyes locked on Daniel. "Everyone, may I have your attention?" I called out, the words stronger than I felt. The room quieted, heads turning toward me, a mix of curiosity and concern swirling in their gazes. "I have something to say," I continued, finding a surprising steadiness as I met Daniel's gaze. He looked pale, genuinely frightened. "What are you doing?" he mouthed, panic rising in his eyes, but I didn't care what he thought. What mattered was unearthing the truth. "I spent years trying to build a life around lies," I said, my voice clear and unwavering. "And today, on what is supposed to be a day of joy and union, I can no longer wear this mask." Some gasps emerged, my sister's expression morphing into shock while Jake stood rooted to the spot, his eyes wide. "Mom, what's going on?" he asked, concern woven through his voice. I took a deep breath, looking between my son and my husband, a delicate balance of love and betrayal. "Dad's been hiding something from you," I said, tearing through my own heart to unearth the truth. "He's been living a double life while we built ours." When I went through the attic, I found letters that revealed an affair, something he didn't bother to share with me. Daniel opened his mouth, preparing to interject, but I held up my hand. "You don't get to defend yourself right now. I've spent too long defending a life built on your lies." The words splashed into the room, a tide of honesty washing over the dance floor. The silence felt heavy, every eye glued to us, a tapestry of emotions stitching us all together, a mix of shock, empathy, and disbelief. Jake looked alternately at me and his father before stepping forward, confusion clouding his eyes. "Is this true, Dad?" His voice, once filled with excitement and joy, was now laced with trepidation. Daniel swelled, anger flickering behind his hooded gaze. "This isn't the time or place." "Oh, but it is," I cried, feeling a weight lift, cascading out like the sunset after a storm. "After all these years of concealing truth, this is the moment to uncover it." With every word, the facade of my marriage crumbled around us, the truth roaring to life. My heart raced, warmed by empowerment but also chilled by the reality of losing the life I thought I had. Eventually, Daniel's expression shifted from shock to defiance. "You are making a mistake," he growled, venom slithering into his tone. "This isn't just about us. You're ruining Jake's wedding." "You're ruining our lives, Daniel," I shouted back, every ounce of rage flooding to the surface. "You've ruined everything that was supposed to be perfect." It was like a spell had broken in the room. Guests murmured among themselves, the once celebratory atmosphere now charged with tension, uncertainty seeping into their smiles as they processed the unfolding drama. For all these years, we were focused on the pretty little picture-perfect life, but it was fake, Daniel, I continued, feeling lighter than I had in ages. And I refuse to live like that anymore. Jake deserves to know the truth about who his father really is. Jake's features softened, uncertainty melting into understanding as he connected the dots. "I can't believe this. Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I took a slow breath, emotions swirling around me like leaves in a windstorm. "I thought protecting you meant protecting our family, but I see now it only silenced me." The truth hung between us like a lifeline, reaching out to everyone in the room. There were hushed whispers and shared glances, family grappling with the revelation that had flipped our lives upside down. Just as I was about to continue, Claire stepped in. "You don't get to dictate how this ends, Daniel," she spat, steely resolve behind her usually animated voice. "You created this mess, and now you have to help clean it up." Daniel fumed, but I could see the fight draining out of him as he looked around, the wedding guests now witnesses to his flaws, a dark truth hovering over our supposed happiness. "I can explain," he stammered, desperation flooding his eyes. "Explain what?" I challenged, refusing to relent. "That you hid your affair and treated your family like a stranger. That you thought you could juggle a double life without consequences." With that, I turned back to Jake, whose hurt expression mirrored the agony I felt inside. "Your father made his choices. This isn't on you." I took my son's hand, the warmth of his presence a reminder that this truth, no matter how painful, could lead to something real. "We will make it through this together," I said softly. As Daniel struggled to suppress the anger building within him, I felt a wave of clarity wash over me. I wasn't just standing up against his lies. I was fighting for our future, for our family, and reclaiming the narrative of my life. The room erupted into a cacophony of voices, family members feasting on the chaos, gossip floating through the air. But it no longer mattered to me. My heart remained steady, knowing I had turned a page, taken my power back, and released years of silent pain. In the days that followed, the truth went public, and Daniel's world unraveled like a tightly wound spool of thread, revealing everything hidden beneath the surface. The stories of his double life echoed in the hollows of our home, but I let them wash over me, a cleansing wave rolling in after the storm. Weeks turned into months, and the fallout seemed to fade like a distant memory. I focused on rebuilding, not just my life but the relationship with my son. Together, we navigated the rocky terrain of trust and understanding, piecing together the fragments of our new reality. One evening, as we sat on the porch, sharing ice cream under the fading light, I felt a sense of peace settle in. "You know, it's strange," Jake said as he gazed off into the horizon. In a way, I'm glad this all came out. It helped me see who I want to be, who I want to trust. I nodded, touched by his maturity, feeling a swell of pride. You deserve more than hollow promises and pretense, Jake. You deserve authenticity. We were moving forward, not backward. The air was lighter, and the plants in our garden, a tangled mess for years, were blooming, vibrant and wild, mirroring the renewal in our hearts. Months turned into years, and slowly I found the courage to open my heart once again. I poured my energy into my passions, creative workshops, art exhibits. With every brushstroke, I painted my story in vivid colors, no longer afraid to embrace my truth. And there I was again, years later, but in a different place. Watching my son chase after his dreams, feeling liberated and alive, I finally understood the freedom that comes with letting go. It dawned on me that perhaps the darkness I had faced was a misstep along a journey towards letting my true self blossom. In the quiet moments, I realized that while betrayal had once threatened to drown me, it had instead given birth to the woman I had always been beneath the surface. A fierce survivor, unafraid to stand up for love, for honesty, and for the beauty of living wholeheartedly. And there, among the laughter and joy of our new life together, I found the strength not only to heal but to thrive, celebrating the brightest, happiest version of myself.